Oh, what are you doing? I'll tell you what you're doing. You're listening to the Elder Scrolls Lorecast. Either you are, or I'll be skipping rope with your entrails. Ta-ta.
This is the Elder Scrolls Lorecast, your source for lore and so much more. Adventurers, war is upon us. I can't keep up the serious tone. Hey, it's Tom. We're back. Lotus is in baby jail. He wasn't able to make it this week, but I made it with a bunch of our patron friends, and we are talking about war. This is a political episode. We are discussing the Skyrim Civil War. It came up a little bit recently in some episodes, but we're going to debate. We have two different sides. One side is picking Imperial, the other side is picking Stormcloak, and we're going to have to debate between the two sides to see who wins in their reasoning for why they're supporting their side on this war. This is a very... I don't know. I mean, there's been a lot of political stuff going on the last year. There's a lot of hot and spicy things, but I think this is going to be the spiciest because, I mean, this is Civil War in Skyrim. So welcome back, everybody. I'm so excited to get this started. We've got Rob and Ben and Falcon and Ombre and Fulcrum and Hirsine joining me. Welcome back, everybody. But here, let's get directly into it because Rob said that he was going to give us the first explanation, his first justifications for why he supports the Imperials. He's on Team Imperial with Ben and Falcon. Rob, take it away.
All right. Putting the pressure on me with that setup. Okay.
Yeah. This is serious stuff. Like, absolutely serious stuff.
My grandpa's an avid Stormcloak defender. I always have to tell him to shut up at the Thanksgiving table. So
you're looking forward to Thanksgiving dinner this week.
I think that it's the logical decision to side with the Empire, despite all of their drawbacks. As I'm not gonna ignore those, but they're still the far more convenient choice because there is a bigger war at stake with the Aldemiri Dominion, and who better to seek protection with than the people that have been protecting you this entire time, or leaving you to fend for yourselves in disarray right after a rebellion. Now, I know that the Empire hasn't been super great at defending them from the Aldemiri Dominion as of late. That's kind of the point of Skyrim. That's the whole plot. But it's better to have some protection than none.
So your justification is it's better to have allies because there's a worse threat than cooperating with the
enemy.
Right.
Why fight amongst ourselves when we have this much larger enemy that's trying to kill and control both of us?
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's a good one to start. I'm going to try not to counter these myself. I'm going to try to let you all do the countering because I like to play both sides. I like to come up with justifications for why something's right or wrong or whatever, I enjoy that stuff. But Ombre said that he wanted to take the first response here for the Stormcloaks. Ombre, how does what Rob said make you feel?
Very milk taker drink. Just gotta say, put that out there. Yeah, that's how I feel about that.
Well, I love milk.
Well, obviously. But no, in all seriousness, the big thing about the whole Civil War, a lot of people like to say is, obviously the Empire's fighting the Aldemiri Dominion elsewhere, and currently there's the White Gold Concordant? Yeah, White Gold Concordant that's currently keeping them at bay, basically. But the issue you have specifically in places like Skyrim is that one of the big things that came with that is the outlawing of Talos. Now, if this was like our world where, gods can't really interact with our world per se, that wouldn't be that much of an issue.
Well, however, just hold on. Some people believe that gods or a god does interact with our world, but I get what you're saying is there's it's not conclusive evidence. It's not as obvious as in a place like Elder Scrolls.
And obviously,
right.
So with that, there's the issue. I'm sorry, my transition. I just lost my train of thought. But the issue with that is obviously one of the big issues is the outlawing of Talos is a dirty. They can't do
it's just cat butt all over the place. Thanks, Cat.
The cat is very much. Oh my god. But yeah.
So you're talking about
defending
Talos.
Talos.
Yeah, you're
I'm
defending.
defending specifically Talos because the direct power that a lot of the gods give, specifically like with the blessings and whatnot, is directly tied to how much worship there is. And with the Imperial, if the Imperials were to win, you have a large sum of the population that does believe in Talos being at least wiped out. And so the power of Talos himself would be very greatly diminished, specifically in Skyrim, where most of Talos worship is. And so that would be one of the biggest weapons that even if the Imperials wanted to go against the Elder Dominion in the future, you would probably want at least one of the Adric gods to be specifically backing your side, because a lot of the gods aren't going to necessarily be on one side or the other. So having one that is directly backing you would be a massive boon. And in that war, you're basically going to need everything you can, because as we saw in the first war, they kind of got their asses handed to them, unfortunately. And so with that, I feel like it's not so much that the Stormcloaks winning would be a bad thing, it's that the Stormcloaks losing would be an even worse case because of the direct issue of that, and also because you have people who are very in tune with things like the Thu'um, which are very effective against magic casters and other people, like Jarl, oh god, what was his name? Jarl, main leader. Ulfric, Jesus, yeah, I just blanked on that. I blanked on that. Yeah, Ulfric Stormcloak, who's a very good Thu'um user, and so obviously he'd be very good in battles and stuff. And obviously during that current war, he was actually a huge proponent in it. And now I know one of the counter arguments I'm going to hear is that he's a Thalmor agent. I know I'm going to hear that argument, and there is evidence of that. However, there's also corresponding evidence that he is completely detached from the Thalmor and is no longer listening to anything that they're even telling him to do, that he's completely unreliable. He's basically just a loose cannon. And
Can I actually interrupt you to support your own point there? If anyone does try to use that as a reason, that is a false reason. The evidence is not saying that he's a Thalmor agent. The evidence is that the Thalmor want him to do his thing because it's helping them regardless of Ulfric's intention. So he's unknowingly helping the Dominion. He's not an agent. So I will defend you in that. Yeah, if someone tries to use that, that's not a good point. But
I just
the counterpoint,
it still plays to their benefit, right?
Yeah, it still plays to the benefit of Stormcloaks, because obviously you would probably hear the Imperial side, and it's just not a true statement. Or even if it was, it's no longer a true statement.
Yeah, well, it plays to the benefit of the Thalmor.
Yeah,
whether he's knowingly acting on their behalf or not, the divisiveness of what he's instituting in Skyrim plays into their benefit. Mm-hmm. Like through the Civil War, they become weaker, which benefits Thalmor.
Now, it's something we don't see actually in Skyrim, the game, but I would imagine if the Stormcloaks were to win, that the Thalmor would actually be completely pushed out of Skyrim and actually give a foothold in which the Elder Dominion has absolutely no power in, versus at the current point where they can pretty much infiltrate the Empire whatever point they want. And whenever a war would break out, they would have critical information on the Empire, thus decreasing their chances of winning, and also giving, if the Empire needed backup, an actual strong point to fight back the Elder Dominion. Because now this is actually something I wanted to bring up. I'm sorry I'm going so long. And
it's all right. Yeah, go ahead and go ahead and bring up one more thing and just kind of wrap it up, and then we'll let them respond.
One last point is, now the last thing I was going to say is a major contention point is actually within the Dark Brotherhood quest line, where you assassinate the Empire. Before you assassinate the Empire, there is no evidence that the Empire is doing anything, or there's anyone within the Empire that has any issues with any of the correspondence of the White Gold Concordant. However, after the assassination, it's very obvious because of the implications of the previous assassination of an emperor, where there was a huge amount of change and a lot of the laws and whatnot were changed. You wouldn't necessarily be able to believe that there would be any change coming. And so if you wanted to ensure that Talos continued as a god and that there was a feasible way of fighting back against the Thalmor, at that point, your only option would be to go for Stormcloaks, because it would almost seem at that point that the Empire in the Eldamari Dominion is, a lot of people like to say, the Eldamari Dominion is basically using the Empire as a puppet at that point. But after the assassination, you can't really use that argument. I just wanted to put that also out. You can't really use that argument after the assassination, because at that point, there is evidence that people within the Empire are revolting against the Empire. And so it becomes a very weird question of who is actually the Empire, who is actually the Stormcloaks, who are the Thalmor. It's very weird, because you have people claiming to be a part of a certain faction, but they have very different things they want to get out of the war.
Yeah, there's always a diversity of reasons why people cooperate, and yeah. Okay, so lots of points there. I'm sure. A lot of points. I'm sure. No, that's great. That's great. Yeah. But let's give Team Empire a chance to respond. It looks like Ben. I feel like you've been just like ready to jump out and just kind of say your thing.
Just a bit. For one, Ulfric gets captured right at the get-go of the game. So, I mean, how effective a commander can he be? And he only gets away because Alduin shows up in the nick of time to save his sorry butt. But anyway, none out of the way. I mean, siding with the Empire, I mean, you're going to do best for the Talos worshippers on that end, because the whole point it's being Talos is being, banned in Skyrim is because of the Thalmor. If you side with the Empire, you're obviously trying to give Skyrim its freedoms back, to let them worship whoever they want to worship, whatever, to beat back the Thalmor, to beat back the Outer Dominion.
So wait, let me get some clarity around this. You're saying that even though the Empire agreed to stop the worship of Talos, the only way to get Talos worship back is to cooperate with the Empire in order to push back the Thalmor, so that they no longer have to play by that rule?
Correct. So
that they could have enough power to then undo that law.
Yes.
Because they weren't a big fan of that law to begin with. They just kind of agree to it.
They just did it just to agree to basically have kind of a ceasefire.
Got it. Okay.
Their hands were forced.
Yeah. I just wanted to make sure we were clear about the logic of how you set that.
Yeah. The way you were articulating that,
Yeah, that.
Okay. All right. Do you have any other points you want to add on top of that?
I'm trying to think on the top of my head, really, at the point. There was just so much there. It was kind of
there was a lot. If you want, you can take a moment.
I'll let Rob take over for my points there.
I already got some people. I have plenty to say, trust me. But Falcon, if you want to take the lead for a moment.
Falcon, do you want to add anything else on top of this? Because we could just talk about Talos. I mean, Talos as a point in this is a very important point.
Just keep going.
And to kind of bring this around a little bit, one of the things Ombre said was that having Talos on your side would be very important to fighting back against the Eldamari Dominion and the Thalmor. And there is some justification there in the lore also that Talos is taking the place of Lorkhan in the Pantheon. And so even more so, the High Elves would be not fans of that, because Lorkhan was on the side of mankind, not the side of elves, and having another divine entity on their side who is readily being worshipped and empowering the people in order to do things that the elves don't like would be very powerful, which is part of why they want to stop the worship, right? So there is definitely a mechanism that is happening there, but I think you're both putting forth two different ways in which you can bring back Talos worship. One is you support the Stormcloaks, and then Skyrim is a free Skyrim. They can worship who they want, and they can do what they want, and they can use that power to push back the Eldamari Dominion. Ben's point is that, no, you support the Empire in pushing back the Eldamari Dominion, which then frees people to worship Talos as they would want, because that's the things would eventually swap back. So far, that's as far as we've gotten in my mind with the Talos thing. And
Falcon is unmuted, so you got something to say?
Yeah, Falcon, you want to add anything to that? Falcon?
Yeah,
there you are. Hey.
I think I agree that going through the Empire would be the way on the Talos issue, because yes, even if the Stormcloaks are able to beat back the Empire out of Skyrim, the Empire's it's larger. It can handle itself better against the Aldmeri Dominion than the Stormcloaks could. The Stormcloaks, they're a small regional army. They're probably not reaching the point of being able to sign the white gold concordance. I don't know. They just don't feel like they stand a chance if they are independent trying to face the Aldmeri Dominion on their own.
So your point is, even if they could push out the Empire from Skyrim, they wouldn't be strong enough to fight against the Aldmeri Dominion.
Yes, because the Empire would also, be wanting to get back in, so they'd be holding off two massive armies at that point.
Yeah, at the same time. Okay, that's an interesting point. All right, let's flip back over to the other side. We haven't heard from Fulcrum or Hersine. Who would like to chime in? Fulcrum, you've got some responses to this?
I do. So, having played both sides, the first time I played, actually, I joined the Empire, and I see. I guess you could say I'm more so on the middle ground here, but
a centrist.
Well, I think anybody who and this comes from like a year of watching like debates about the election, all this kind of thing. I think anybody who is being actually fair about facts and information will skew a little bit more closer to the center, because they will be willing to say, yeah, those bad things you said about my side, those are true. But here's the thing that I think really matters, like the truth of the situation is that everything's a little bit gray. And if you just ignore that gray and just say, no, my side's white and your side's black, I think you're just kind of like burying your head in the sand. Right. So like, I think that is the right tact, is to say like, yeah, I can see both sides, but I sway this way because of this thing.
Yeah.
So go for it. Yeah.
I do sway more towards. So after playing Empire, obviously, I created a new character. Later on, like I've had several million playthroughs probably by now.
Right.
And I chose Stormcloak for my second playthrough. And their storyline just made more sense to me, because I'm not exactly sure why, but their storyline made more sense to me. They seemed more genuine, as in
fighting for something they believe in, like their homeland, that kind of thing.
The camaraderie.
Yeah, like Skyrim is for the Nords. Like that's what they believe in.
Yeah,
like, not saying right. That's a bad.
You can see it both ways,
good.
Right.
For them, but for other people, it's not so good. Like the Dark Elves, especially,
right.
And the Argonians and stuff.
Right. What I gather, what you're trying to say here, though, is like Skyrim is traditionally their homeland. This is their home country.
Yes.
And they have a right to protect and define what happens in their own homeland. And that there's something that is like, it's hard to deny that is like, okay, that's legit, right?
And yeah, and going back to the Talos thing, like, so they obviously having played the Empire side, you do see Leggett, what's her face? I don't even remember her name.
Rika?
Yeah. She, at the end, like when you kill Ulfric, she says something about like Talos, and like her commander dude's like, what did you just say?
Yeah, like as like a little quick Talos prayer as Ulfric falls, because she knows that he's a worshiper of Talos. Yeah.
Right. And I think she believes in Talos. And so like, you see the contradictions there. And then going back to the Dark Brotherhood quest, I think when you're doing that portion just before you kill the Emperor, when he's talking to you, I believe I think it's him that's talking about the issues that are going on with the Thalmor. Somebody's talking about that in some part of the game. I'm pretty sure it was them.
Okay. But what they say is what's important, right?
What they say is what's important. He says something along the lines of, like, you know, we only signed the White Gold Concordat so that we could appease them for this time.
Yeah.
Right.
We don't intend to, you know, just lay down like dogs, basically, and listen to every word they say. And so I think the Stormcloaks are missing that.
Right.
They're not seeing the bigger picture. So while I do side with the Stormcloaks, I can see why, you know, it would logistically make more sense to go with the Empire in the long run, and logistically as well, because they have more
what
money.
Side you're arguing?
Yes, I do. But listen, like Tom said, we can see the, you know.
So what let me summarize this real quick. You're saying that, like, if the goal is to push back the Thalmor, it probably makes more actual sense to side with the Imperials, but you can see that there is this grassroots belief thing about their homeland doing what's right and defending themselves that is more appealing than simply solving the problem of potential war with the Thalmor.
Yes.
Because, like, and I think this is, like, that's a fair point. There may be war in the future with Thalmor or with the High Elves, but there may not be. Like, you don't know necessarily what's going to happen in the future. It looks like they're trying to expand their control over the continent, but who knows? Maybe they only want to take back certain lands because those lands were taken away from them by the Empire. You know, like, maybe their goals don't extend across the entire continent. Maybe Russia will stop at Ukraine. You know, like, that seems like a similar justification.
All I heard is revive the Ebonheart Pack and fight the Aldemir Dominion.
Right.
Somebody's going to at me and be like, "Oh, you got political," but, like, that's just what the argument reminds me of. Is just like
it's a good example.
It was like, the you know, those people over there who are attacking these other people trying to take the land from them, they don't have any plans beyond that. And it's like, well, maybe they do. Like, maybe they do.
Like, they definitely do, and we all know they do. But, like, and you'd be just a tad bit dumb to not see it. But
you still feel like the Stormcloaks are, like, justified more in the defense of their homeland.
Yes, and I think the only reason I say that I can see why somebody would go with the Empire in the long run is because the Stormcloak's vision is so short-sighted.
Got it.
They're not looking past Skyrim.
Right. But you still think that there's value in that short-sightedness of that decision.
Yes, because at no point does that have to mean that, you know, they fight for Skyrim, but and there's the Civil War, but later on, you know, an amends or some kind of treaty can't be made to fix the situation.
That's a fair point. Like, for example, in World War II, the United States and Japan were at odds. Japan was part of the Axis of Evil. But in the last few decades, the United States and Japan have been allies. Mm-hmm. And
it's because they made anime. Let's be honest.
it's because they made anime and Pokemon, and then everybody in the West was like, "Okay, cool, we like them again."
And we got access to all of the Subaru technology that they used against us. And
sure. And there's lots of reasons why you could, like, whatever the reasoning is. The main point to your point is just because you push back against somebody else in a conflict doesn't mean you can't necessarily ally with them later when a different conflict arises and you have similar similar goals.
Yeah.
In the
You just
future,
have to nuke them into submission.
you just have to send the Numidium at them and just blow up their
I am
cities.
Magnus incoming.
Right?
Just send in the Dragonborn. That's fine. He's a nuke by
He's
himself.
just like a human nuke. All right, let's flip back to the other side. I know all three of you have had a chance to chime in. Falcon, the least. I don't know. Let's start with Falcon. Falcon, do you have anything else you want to add to this or counterpoints for this, or would you like to just open it up to the other two?
Yeah, we can open it up.
Okay, so who has thoughts on
I have so many thoughts.
on side Imperial?
Rob has a lot of thoughts.
Rob,
So,
what's your
I'll try to keep it
counterpoint
short.
here? Yeah, let's pick one thing and we'll just kind of like tackle that one concept.
Okay. I guess I'll just try to hit the most recent point, but I have so much of what Ombre said that I wanted to get to. But we'll just with Fulcrum's point of they're the compassionate side. They're fighting for their home. It's a local fight. You can support the little guy, and it's short sighted, but they're fighting for Skyrim. That is such a dangerous way to look at it if you were to see this for what it is, because you acknowledge that it's short-sighted, but the short-sightedness is the most dangerous part of this. Them fighting for Skyrim is tearing Skyrim apart and leaving them vulnerable for Skyrim to just be completely decimated and lose everything that they have. But go
Can I
ahead.
say something? I would say like Ulfric and his Stormcloak idealism is very naivete. It's very
Absolutely.
naive compared to, he doesn't see, I mean, as Fulcrum even said, like short-sightedness in the war itself. But yeah, like Rob was going on, like it's destroying everything.
Like there are points because I've played both sides as well, and when you're fighting alongside the Stormcloaks, they tell they have like these military meetings about how they're running out of men. They have to keep like scouring all of Skyrim to recruit more people who want to join the fight because they're having such a hard time fighting the Imperial soldiers that are stationed in Skyrim. They are having a hard time fighting the amount of soldiers that the Empire could afford to provide to Skyrim. The Skyrim was given the remaining lot because they have this other war that they're dealing with. So they got this small little section of the Empire stationed here to help with this fight, and that was overwhelming for the Stormcloaks. So imagine what happens. You can once I finish my point.
Yeah.
I'm almost done.
He's almost there.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm almost there. I promise.
No, you're fine.
So the fact that they're battling at odds. What happens when they're left over? And now we have this giant, massive Aldemiri Dominion that's been building up their army, and they're not spread out. They're spread out on fighting the Empire, but now you've done their job for them. So you made it easier. So it's not short-sightedness alone. It's short-sightedness that is dooming Skyrim. It's not fighting for Skyrim. It's tearing Skyrim apart. Go ahead.
Yes, so I completely understand where you're coming from. Part of what I wanted to say earlier is, from a logistical standpoint, the Empire has more money and more resources that they can put towards something like that. So, and that's why I say,
Rob, that is a gigantic thermos. I just had to point that out. Anybody who's not watching the live stream,
I'm thirsty.
Rob just lifted up what is something the size of like a rocket booster
or something
that puts satellites into orbit, and then just drank water out of it.
It's all vodka, actually.
Okay.
That's why I wanted to say, it logistically, in the common sense world, it makes more sense to go with the Empire. But if it was just setting aside the Thalmor and this, just ignoring them,
if they're just not the part of the equation, then everything else is fine.
They're doing their own thing.
Yeah.
And we're
with
just
the Empire.
No, they're
just gone. All right,
they're just over there. But if it was just between the Stormcloaks and the Empire, and we didn't have to worry about the Thalmor as well, I would go with the Stormcloaks every time.
Fortunately, there wouldn't be a decision because the Empire would completely overpower the Stormcloaks, and there wouldn't be a fight.
Yeah, true.
Didn't you say I think you're swaying them anyway?
I did. I did, because I know that, like, logistically, they have more money, they can afford more troops, they have more resources, blah, 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 blah. But again, going back to my original point of...
We can't ignore the Aldemir Dominion, though. If we ignore the Aldemir, we can't.
Yeah, we can't.
That's the biggest aspect.
Yes, but, like, it's the Nords fighting for their homeland. Well, their second homeland.
I think we get your point. We get your point. Like there's a clear, like, it feels like there's a good justification, but in the long run, there are more variables at play. And
also, nationalism isn't a good justification.
Well, defending your home is a good justification.
Yes, but the Stormcloaks aren't doing it to defend their home. They're doing it to defend nationalism. They're specifically defending a certain kind of people.
All right. Well,
they're not here to defend all of Skyrim. Well, they're defending their brothers that look just like them.
Right.
And the sons of Skyrim.
Yeah, and I guess it depends on how you frame it and how you define what that is and what their motivation is.
If there wasn't all of these other mitigating factors.
Sure. Well,
I would tell you what. Choose them.
I'll tell you what, I feel like we're at a good kind of stopping point here. Hirsine still needs to chime in, so I feel like we should take a quick break, thank the patrons, and then we'll come back. We'll see if Hirsine can pitch another argument, because I feel like things are kind of swaying more pro Imperial here for a little bit, but we're gonna see where it goes. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
This is Hamis Morak, Dragonborn, and you are educating yourself to the Elder Scrolls Lorecast.
I'm now jealous. I need to get, like, I've got this, like, regular sized big cup, a little tumbler. I need a gigantic thermos. Welcome to the middle of the show. This is going to be quick. We don't have any new patrons this week, and we also don't have any new reviews this week. But if you decide to join or leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, we'll read it out on a future episode of the show. Also, Patreon's doing this cool thing where you can gift Patreon subscriptions, which means that you can either send one to a friend who would enjoy getting ad-free episodes or t-shirts or whatever, or joining us on a future chat. If somebody would love to join us next month for the patron chat, send them just a 1-month subscription to that tier, and then they can do that. Or you can choose whatever tier you want for as much time as you want. You can also, if you haven't been able to join us, but you would like somebody else to gift that to you, you could recommend it as a present to be given to you when somebody says, hey, what do you want for the holidays? So lots of cool stuff going on with that stuff. And we have to shout out our Daedric Princes, Blinding Vision, Hirsine, Kirasi, and Peter R. Thank you for your support as well. And to all 136 of our current patrons, thank you for your support. You can also rate the show on Spotify. You can share it with your friends. You can do all of that stuff. But we're not going to take too much time in the middle here because we've got more to talk about with Imperials and Stormcloaks. So here we go.
You're listening to the Elder Scrolls Lorecast, dear child of cities. That is why the Night Mother loves you.
I don't know if that came through the microphone, but I just kicked my desk with my leg as I crossed my legs. It just made like a boom sound. Hirsine, you're up. You ready to go? You got some arguments you want to add to this?
All right, let's get one thing straight. True sons and daughters of Skyrim, let's face the facts. Ulfric Stormcloak is going to make Skyrim great again. And we know this as a fact.
Oh, no.
Okay?
You just said make Skyrim... Hold on. You just said make Skyrim great again.
So the Empire is already crumbling. They were crumbling since the Oblivion Crisis. They all ran away from all the provinces to protect themselves, which proves to us all, especially us in Skyrim, that they only care for themselves. Okay? With that being said, the Thalmor are not a threat. They're intimidating. They might have good politics. They might be scary in the long run, but the reality is they're not a threat. They couldn't even beat the Empire, and we're beating the Empire. Okay, they signed that contract not just because they were winning and wanted to give them a chance. No, they were losing too. Heck, they couldn't even take Hammerfell. Hammerfell's defending just fine. They can't even reach High Rock. High Rock is probably having the best time of their lives. They're avoiding any war.
They're just on vacation.
Right?
They're just enjoying that sunshine and the sand.
Yeah, and also, every warrior fights to the end, okay? You know it, I know it, every red-blooded Nord knows it. We fight till the end. The Empire, they gave up and signed a piece of paper over to the elves, okay? Yeah, we're not disavowing Talos. Talos is a god. Talos has always been a god. And I will worship him to the end, okay? And the thing is,
you brought up Talos.
Yes.
Can I say one thing? Why was your so-called leader captured by the Empire themselves and also committed high treason against his own country and shouted a king to death?
Fascinating questions. I actually have answers for you. So when it comes down to the High King himself, that was an honorable duel. They went out and agreed to fight by traditional Nord standards. High King, what's his face, Torek? Could even handle the power of Ulfric Stormcloak. Ulfric proved himself to the people of Skyrim that he is worthy as High King, a true Nord of Skyrim. As for the Helgen scene, okay, we all know this. Everyone in the east of Skyrim knows this. He got caught on purpose, okay? You see, he got caught, let their guards down, so whenever they went to go execute everybody, well, him and his captured brethren all fought back. It was just an inconvenience that a dragon came, because he was doing great taking Helgen from the Imperials. And you can't prove me wrong, because a stupid dragon killed and burned everybody, okay? Ulfric had a plan there.
Ulfric had a plan. We need to have t-shirts that say Ulfric had a plan.
I'll buy 20 of them.
Oh, man. All right. I love your rhetoric. I mean, your justifications here. All right. You've leveled a bunch of stuff. Let's go to the other side. Who wants to respond?
No notes. Everything. You know what? I'm actually convinced I'm going to the Stormcloak site. No,
yeah,
I'm
I've been
kidding.
convinced.
Falcon's convinced too.
No, I'm glad you brought up Talos again, because I wanted to bring up the fact of like the Talos worship. One, we already kind of hinted, like the Empire is trying to preserve it just in a quiet way, whereas the fact that the Stormcloaks are trying to like violently fight for it out loud is just going to make it more likely to be completely squashed out, because it's bringing more attention to it with the Thalmor. Whereas the Empire was just trying to quietly let them worship, and now we've shined a light on it, and now we can't get around it. But beyond that, should we care if Talos worship goes away? Talos isn't necessarily the most like benevolent being. It's literally just a tyrant that ascended to godhood after committing genocide through a magic robot. There's nothing holy about that.
With your wine, you're obviously in a true Nord.
I want that sentence also on a t-shirt. He's a tyrant who ascended to godhood through genocide using a magical robot.
This is a good marketing
just like a little
campaign for the
Talos
podcast.
riding, the new medium.
Yeah.
Now, like, if this was about worshiping Lorkhan, I think it'd be a very different conversation, because that's a whole lot more nuanced. But like, Talos isn't Lorkhan. Talos is just an angry white man who wanted to like kill a bunch of elves. Like, he's not Lorkhan. He's not a god. He's just a powerful godlike being through his ascension that he used through elven magic.
All right. I feel like Rob's made his piece here.
A true god / emperor of the people would use all assets. That includes elven gifts that were given to him by the tribunal. He earned that fair and square. He used the tools that he was granted to take and
to commit
create
genocide? That doesn't sound right.
Oh yeah, and like the Altmeri Dominion aren't doing the same thing. If you side with the Empire, you're siding with them, and now you're just a hypocrite. That's a double standard.
Uh,
Yeah,
That's
went
called
silent
politics.
He's got a point. He's got a point.
all right. I feel like we've made some really good arguments here, and clearly the two sides are not going to see eye to eye on some things. But here, we're getting close to the end of the show. How about one of you on each side give your closing remarks? And I think it would be fun to do a poll afterwards, like on the Discord, and see like what people side with, and if any of the arguments anybody has made here has changed their mind or not. That would be really cool.
Yeah.
That'd be really fun. So who would like to do first closing remarks? Would one side like to go as opposed to another? Do you have a representative that one of you guys would like to use? Who would like to?
Representing Stormcloaks.
Okay,
I want Falcon to represent us because he's going to say some like out of pocket crap.
Okay,
That's what I'm here for, honestly.
all right, all right. Well, Imperial started, so let's let Stormcloaks finish. So, Falcon, do you want to represent? Are you okay with that?
Falcon is representing the Empire.
Right,
Yeah, I'll take
right.
the Empire.
So we'll let the Empire.
That's no issue.
The Empire started the show, so we'll let the Stormcloaks finish the show, right? Because
I misunderstood. Okay,
advantage on both sides. Sorry, Falcon. Are you ready? Do you want to like closing thoughts? Are you there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the Empire, it has the size to stand up. It has, what it can take to hold back the Altmeri Dominion. They already have to this point. Yes, the White Gold Concordant is, skewed a bit to one side, but they were able to reach that point. Stormcloaks are, it's probably an army of couple thousand men in just a very regional area. They won't have interest in fighting outside of that, so the Dominion can, put their control on other parts of the Empire and choke out, Stormcloak should they win this war.
Okay. So, in summary, Empire has more strength. Go with the Empire.
Empire has the strength, and especially the Nords that are in the Empire. They do support Talos worship coming back. They just needed a plan to hold off the Dominion until they can get back to that point.
Okay, so it sounds like Falcon is saying, let's play the long game. Let's go with the Empire. And everything is going to work out in the end. All right. Thank you for that summary, Falcon. Who would like to summarize for the Stormcloaks?
Oh, I'm more than willing to.
All right. You guys cool with Hercene? All right. They give you a thumbs up. Hercene, closing remarks.
All right. So Falcon is right on one thing. Yes, the Stormcloaks will in fact finish this. First off, the Empire doesn't really have much going on. They may have numbers towards Skyrim, but in all reality, all they have is Cyrodiil, and what dwindling numbers they have after losing so much to the Altmeri Dominion and kind of cowering behind their ivory towers. Okay, Skyrim may have fewer soldiers, but Nords or Nords, no one really fights as viciously as the Nords do. And also the Altmeri Dominion, the Thalmor, are still weak too. They're licking their own wounds. They signed the gold cord, the contract, so that way they can also heal some too. And it's going to take a while for them to heal as well. So once Ulfric Stormcloak becomes High King and takes Skyrim for himself, first off, the Thalmor don't really need Skyrim whatsoever. There's nothing in Skyrim for the Thalmor. All the Thalmor want to do is rule Tamriel under the flag of the elves. And Skyrim is nothing but men, really. So it would just become war. But the issue is that means they're warring with the Orcs, they're warring with the Redguards, they're warring with the Britons, they're warring with all these nations that haven't really been afflicted by war. Skyrim might be a little roughed up around the edges, but Skyrim has always been rough around the edges.
And you're done? Is that it?
Oh, I have more to say, but I think I'm good.
Okay. So, in summary, make Skyrim great again.
Skyrim has always been great again. I said that rhetorically.
Nice. Well, thank you both, everybody, both sides of the argument for playing along and being having fun with this. I think it's fun to, of course, take a look at both sides and see the justifications and get everybody's perspectives. So that's a lot of fun. Also, if you are listening and want to chime in, jump on the Discord, let us know. And we'll see if we've spawned any more conversation. We'll see where this goes. But in order to wrap this up, we're going to go back through everybody. I'm just going to go in the order that I see people on the screen. And feel free to share anything you've got going on if you want to throw something out into the world, or just thanks for being here. So, Rob, kick us off. You got anything you want to share? You're muted. You gotta unmute so we can hear you.
That was a test you passed.
There you go.
Congratulations.
Well, good. My ears still work.
I finally made the move from formerly known as Twitter to Blue Sky. Same at Rob the Princess. So go and follow me there so I can continue to not post much. Shout out to the Sky Oblivion project as always. And as I mentioned in the Twitch chat, Ulfric is still also a war criminal for what he did in Markarth. That is all.
That is all. All right. Nice. Ben, thanks for joining us. Any last words?
Ulfric in... I don't know. He can suck eggs.
Drink some milk.
But yeah, you know me, Brandon, or also known as Ben and Tamaria, on the plethora of podcasts that I host, which are Holocron History, Star Wars Canon vs. Legends, the Final Fantasy Lorecast, the Gundam Lorecast, the Wizarding World Lorecast, and the Witcher Lorecast. And awesome news, I have started my voiceover journey, so I am doing auditions currently for a bunch of stuff, so hopefully I get cast in some things, and hopefully make that a full-time job. So that is on the journey to do that. So
Nice.
It's fun.
Well, good luck. Hopefully that works out great. And go check out his stuff. If you're listening to this on a podcatcher, you can just look up those. It's easy to find them. Or robotsradio.net. Links to everything's over there. Thanks, Ben. Falcon, any last thoughts? Anything you want to share?
The only good thing Ulfric has going is how he treats the reptiles.
This is what I wanted in the closing statement.
Yes, I know.
Pocket.
I know that's what you wanted, so I had to throw it out there.
All right.
But yeah, I talk in the Discord. Really the only social media I'm active on, but I'm Falcon with a box on pretty much everything.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. All right. Ombre, anything you want to share?
I've had up to about here with these milk drinker opinions. But anyways, yeah, I've been streaming recently. I'm actually doing a complete playthrough of Skyrim, a few mods, but I've already done a lot of the major stuff. Obviously, I already did the Civil War. That's why I was so heated about the Stormcloak specifically.
Yeah.
But besides that, just I've been, streaming. I've been doing some YouTube videos, reading through the books and explaining like any lore implications with any of the books that are going on there. If anyone ever wants to come in like my streams, talk to me about Dwemer stuff, because I love talking about Dwemer stuff. But besides that, that's all.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us. And then Fulcrum, you got something to share.
Yes, I do. I have a podcast called Dark Character Profiler. And it's a podcast where I take a deep dive into the lives and most heinous acts of fictional villains, from video games to comics to books, manga.
Basically, if there's a cool bad guy, you're gonna cover it, right?
Yeah. But not like from movies or TV shows.
Okay.
But like if they are a character in like something else that's related to like books or something.
Right, like the movie was done
that.
based on a book, like that kind of thing. Like Voldemort, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
If you do one for Umbridge, I will have words for that episode.
I think she's on the list. I'm pretty sure she is.
Nice.
and we take a look, I take a look into these characters' personalities, and I actually go into the DSM-5 and provide like kind of a character analysis based on their personalities and crimes and, you know, things like that, and discuss like what disorders I believe would coincide with the character if they were a real person. I have 3 episodes. I'm doing it every other Tuesday for right now. The first 2 episodes are a little rough, but episode 3 is, you know, it went up quite a bit.
Yeah, it takes practice. It takes practice to like, you know, get in the you know, the habit and the figure out your pattern, figure out how you're going to do things, how you're going to present things. Yeah. So we've done. Let's see who we've done so far. The first one was Voldemort. The second one was the Crow from Destiny 2, and then the third one, Ben of Temeria, will like this one, Grand Admiral Thrawn. Yeah. Thrawn in the most recent one. So yeah, say the name again so people can find it.
It's Dark Character Profiler.
So there you go.
And it also has, I didn't know about this Blue Sky thing, so I made an X profile for it. But
yeah, well, you can do a Blue Sky one too. You can be on everything.
Yeah. It does have an Instagram. If you want to follow that, I mean, whatever.
There you go. Awesome.
You can find all the links on the podcast. It's on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, a bunch of other things that like Spotify tells me it's on.
Yeah, all the main ones. Yeah. Yep, that's how that goes. Well, good luck with that. That's awesome. Yeah, I've checked out a few of the episodes, and you're covering some really cool stuff. And you got into the nitty gritty about like Thrawn's background in the most recent one, and like his personality and stuff like that. So very cool stuff. Awesome. And then we've got thanks for joining us, Fulcrum. And then we've got Hersine to wrap this up. Hersine?
Yeah, this episode was super fun. Hopefully my passionate in-character rants didn't bother too many people.
No, it was very entertaining. It was great.
Thank you. Yes. My final thoughts is, why couldn't we become High King? Okay, that's all I wanted. I didn't want to pick either. I wanted to become High King myself. I'm Dragonborn. I deserve the rightful spot as High King. First off, you know, you defeat Alduin, for crying out loud. Anyways, I use mods so I could become High King. But with that being said, yeah, it was super fun to hear all the different arguments and stuff. And I remember watching a bunch of these videos back in the day of everybody's opinions, like why the Stormcloak should have won or why the Imperial should have won.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is a lot of people don't ever think outside of Skyrim or Cyrodiil, like Hammerfell, High Rock, and even Morrowind, because those are the surrounding areas of Skyrim. So I like to bring that up too. Like, Hammerfell doing fine. They're fending off the Altmerry Dominion just fine because the Altmerry really wanted them and like their port towns specifically.
Yeah,
but you know, the reality is you just don't mess with the Red Guards. They always win somehow.
Right.
Red Guards are warriors. Okay.
That's true. True.
But yeah, outside of that, I haven't really been doing much. Just playing EZO and working on the Modi cycle.
Cool. Well, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah. And hey, you know, I remember the random page. You want to know what we got for the random page?
I am always excited for the random page.
Oh, this is a real good one. Like sometimes you get like big long articles. Sometimes you get like something that's really unique or like an item. This is Project Tamriel, Cyrodiil Marnicius. This Morrowind Project Tamriel. This is like, I guess, a mod or something. I don't know. I even know like
Tamriel 1 was a mod, yeah. So.
Yeah, Project Tamriel. What is Project Tamriel? Is a collection of collaborative fan-based modding projects working together. Okay, so this article is a stub. You can help by expanding it. Marnicius is ? And it's just a picture of like this really dumb character model from Morrowind. I don't know. There is some other stuff here added by province Cyrodiil. I don't know what that means. Location Stirk Isle region, and then it gives you coordinates so you can actually go find this person. Race Imperial, male, level 14, class Sailor, health 129, magicka 100, alarm 0, fight 8 or 80. So there you go. That's it. That's Marnicius.
Rock on.
Cool. All right. That's our random page for the week. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. Hopefully Lotus gets the whole, baby jail thing situated and is able to join me back next week. And if you are in the U.S., hope you're enjoying your holiday. Hopefully Thanksgiving's going well and all of that. And again, everybody, thank you for the support. We really do appreciate it. Until next time, I don't know, pick your side and then fight to the death defending your homeland. Or the worship of Talos, or not those things, or I don't know, whatever justification you have. All right, we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to the Elder Scrolls Lorecast. Check out robotsradio.net for more podcasts just like this, and join us on the Robots Radio Discord. Be part of a community of over 5,000 people who are excited about video games and so much more. Robots Radio. Games, lore, stories, community. Just press play.